The city of Ghent in Belgium had woken up under a soft drizzle. Cobblestone streets glistened with raindrops, reflecting the ornate architecture of centuries past. Sophie, a young mother with a gentle smile, held tightly to her daughter Lotte's hand as they walked towards the bustling market square. Lotte, just 8 years old, was curious about everything around her. She paused to admire a colorful array of vegetables stacked neatly in wooden crates. Bright red tomatoes, golden carrots, and deep green zucchinis caught her eyes. Her excitement was infectious, and Sophie chuckled softly. They approached a stall where a cheerful vendor greeted them warmly. Sophie selected fresh herbs while Lotte reached out to touch a bundle of fragrant basil. The air was filled with chatter, laughter, and the soft hum of early morning commerce. Suddenly, the peaceful scene shifted. A man, appearing impatient and harsh, stepped forward. He scrutinized Sophie's choices, his voice sharp and critical. "You really should think about what you are buying. This is nonsense," he said, pointing at her basket. Sophie's smile faltered. She instinctively moved closer to Lotte, sensing the tension rising. Lotte's small hand gripped her mother's with surprising strength. She looked at the man with wide, steady eyes. For a moment, the market noise seemed to fade. The man frowned, taken aback by the child's unwavering gaze. Lotte's presence was like a shield, a silent declaration that her mother was not alone. Sophie whispered softly, "It is all right, Lotte. Let us continue." But Lotte shook her head, her resolve clear. She stepped slightly forward, her little voice firm. "Please stop. You are not being kind." The man blinked, clearly unprepared for such courage from a child. A hush fell over the nearby stalls. Some shoppers glanced over, curious but hesitant to intervene. Finally, after a tense moment, the man muttered under his breath and walked away, leaving a trail of confusion in his wake. Lotte exhaled slowly, relief washing over her small frame. Sophie knelt down and hugged her tightly, whispering words of gratitude. The rain continued to fall gently, but the market regained its lively rhythm. Sophie and Lotte moved on, the bond between them strengthened by the morning's unusual encounter. Lotte's small act had spoken volumes, showing that courage is not measured by size, but by the strength of one's heart. The market seemed brighter now, the rain lightening to a soft drizzle that left the streets shimmering. Sophie and Lotte wandered towards another corner, where the scent of fresh bread mingled with roasted coffee beans. Lotte's curiosity drew her to a small fountain at the square's center. She tossed a coin and watched it ripple in the water, her laughter echoing against the ancient stone buildings. Sophie smiled but remained alert, her senses still tuned to the earlier encounter. It was then that she noticed him again. The same man lingered near the next stall, pretending to examine cheeses, yet his eyes followed them. He did not approach immediately, but Sophie's heart quickened. She felt a familiar tension, that uneasy sense that trouble was close by. Lotte, unaware of the subtle warning in her mother's gaze, skipped forward, fascinated by a display of hand-painted pottery. Her voice rang with excitement as she asked the vendor questions, her small hands tracing the curves of colorful vases. The man took a deliberate step closer. Sophie's grip on Lotte's hand tightened. She positioned herself between her daughter and the stranger, her body instinctively protective. "You shouldn't be teaching your child nonsense," the man muttered under his breath. Sophie ignored him, moving quickly to continue browsing. But Lotte, sensing her mother's unease, glanced back. Her eyes met the man's, and a spark of determination ignited within her. Before Sophie could react, Lotte took a subtle, confident step forward. "Please leave us alone. We do not want trouble," she said, her voice clear and unwavering despite her small stature. The man's expression shifted. Surprise flickered across his face, mingled with irritation. He did not expect a child to confront him with such composure. Nearby shoppers began to notice, whispering softly among themselves. Sophie felt a swell of pride and fear simultaneously. She knew Lotte's bravery had prevented the situation from escalating. Yet the man's lingering presence reminded her that danger, however minor, could return at any moment. The encounter ended as abruptly as it had started. The man muttered a low sound of frustration and turned away, blending into the crowd. Sophie exhaled, relief mingled with lingering anxiety. Latte, unaware of the full danger, smiled brightly and pointed to a new stall filled with fresh pastries. Sophie followed, her mind racing with questions about courage, fear, and the unpredictable instincts of her young daughter. Every corner of the market now held the possibility of challenge, and yet, the day continued, teeming with life and quiet lessons. After leaving the market, Sophie and Latte wandered through narrow alleys lined with quaint shops and cafes. The sun had begun to pierce through the clouds, casting long, golden shadows across the cobblestones. Latte skipped ahead, chasing after a group of pigeons that scattered with her laughter. Sophie's eyes scanned the crowd, her instincts alert. The earlier encounter lingered in her mind. She sensed someone watching them. In the shadow of a corner, she caught a glimpse of the same man. He remained just out of reach, blending with the pedestrians. Latte, unaware, hummed a cheerful tune as she explored the vibrant surroundings. Sophie quickened her pace. She felt the tension coil within her. What could this man want? She wondered if confronting him directly would escalate matters, or if they should simply ignore his presence. Before she could decide, Latte tugged her hand. "Look, Mother. The painters are here again," she exclaimed. Their path led to an open square filled with artists displaying vibrant canvases. The man lingered at the edge of the square, watching. Sophie's heart beat faster. She knelt beside Latte, whispering, "Stay close to me." Latte nodded, sensing her mother's concern. The day continued, the market noise replaced by gentle music from a nearby street performer. Yet Sophie's eyes remained vigilant, her mind racing with strategies to protect her daughter. A sudden shout drew Sophie's attention. A child had dropped a toy into a fountain, and its parents frantically searched for it. Latte watched, fascinated by the commotion. In that moment, the man appeared behind them, blocking the path. Sophie froze, a wave of fear washing over her. Latte instinctively held her hand tighter. "You cannot keep avoiding me," the man said quietly but firmly. Sophie's heart pounded. "We are not interested in trouble," she replied, steadying her voice. Latte stepped forward, small but determined. "Leave us alone, please," she said, her eyes unwavering. The man hesitated, clearly unsettled by the child's courage. He muttered something under his breath and turned away, disappearing into a crowd of tourists. Sophie exhaled, relief tempered by lingering anxiety. Latte smiled, unaware of the danger they had just narrowly avoided. The afternoon sun glinted off the canals of Ghent. Sophie and Latte strolled along the water, watching boats drift gently under historic bridges. Latte skipped stones, laughing as they danced across the water. Sophie reflected on the morning's events. Her daughter's courage had astonished her. She realized that bravery often came from the most unexpected places. Latte noticed a small cafe by the canal. "Shall we have some hot chocolate?" she asked. Sophie agreed, welcoming the brief moment of peace. Inside, the aroma of cocoa and pastries enveloped them. Yet even amidst warmth and laughter, Sophie remained vigilant. She knew that courage alone was sometimes not enough to shield them from the world. Evening approached, and the market square came alive again with colorful lights and evening shoppers. Sophie and Latte returned, drawn by the sense of fresh bread and roasted coffee. The man appeared once more, lurking near the entrance. Sophie's pulse quickened. She had to remain calm for Latte's sake. This time, she chose a direct approach. "We have nothing for you here," she said firmly. Latte mirrored her stance, standing tall beside her mother. The man stared for a moment, then slowly backed away, eventually disappearing into the crowd. Sophie and Latte moved through the market cautiously, yet their bond felt stronger than ever. Night fell, and the city lights reflected in the calm waters of the canals. Sophie and Latte walked across a quiet bridge, enjoying the serenity. Suddenly, they sensed movement behind them. A shadow flitted near the edge of the bridge. Latte instinctively stepped closer to her mother. The man appeared again, closer than ever. Sophie's mind raced, considering escape routes. "You cannot run forever," he whispered. Before panic could take over, Lotte stepped forward, her small voice firm. "Stop. You are not scary." The man paused, astonished by her fearlessness. He vanished once more into the night, leaving only the echo of footsteps on stone. The next day, Sophie decided to explore a quieter part of Ghent. Narrow alleyways and secret courtyards offered peace away from the crowds. Lotte discovered a hidden garden behind an old gate. Flowers bloomed in wild colors, and the gentle sound of water from a small fountain created a magical atmosphere. For a moment, they felt safe. But shadows can linger even in the brightest places. Sophie remained watchful, teaching Lotte that awareness and caution were as important as courage. As they wandered the city, the man appeared one final time near a bustling square. He approached slowly, his intentions unclear. Lotte, remembering every lesson of the past 2 days, stood her ground. "We will not be afraid," she said firmly. Sophie stood beside her, proud yet alert. The man's expression softened, then he walked away quietly, leaving no trace of hostility. Sophie realized that courage combined with calm and presence of mind could defuse even the most tense situations. The final chapter of the day found them back by the canals. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. Lotte skipped stones once more, her laughter echoing across the water. Sophie watched, filled with pride. The morning's challenges had tested them both, but together, they had faced fear and uncertainty with grace. The city of Ghent, with its cobbled streets, bridges, and canals, stood quiet in the twilight. For Sophie and Lotte, the bond they shared had grown stronger, and courage, no matter how small, had proven its power.